We have two great apartment living options in Brownsville for UTB and TSC students. The Borders Apartments at 375 Media Luna Road is conveniently located on Highway 7783 and a quarter-mile south of Sunrise Mall. Our second option, Los Cedros Apartments, offers countless comforts and is located at 1025 Wild Rose Lane. For an exclusive discount on your first month's rent, call the Borders Apartments at 546-1605 or Los Cedros at 542-1941. Both offers expire November 30th.
Hello, and welcome to the Collegian News Webcast. I'm Jonathan Baldwin.
And I'm Victoria Brito. Here are this week's stories.
The verdict is in for the student accused of drunk driving and striking UT Brownsville mascot, Ozzy the Ocelot. Alex Rodriguez reports on the mock trial.
Eva Robles, the student charged in a drunken and driving hit-and-run accident that injured UTB's mascot, Ozzy the Ocelot, pleaded guilty to intoxication assault, failure to stop to render aid, and driving while intoxicated during a mock trial held last Thursday in the Student Union's Grand Salon. Robles initially pleaded not guilty to the charges. But after a strong case presented by David Marquez, UTB's Director of Student Rights, and the testimonies of UTB Police Officer Perla Noriega, eyewitness Alejandra Sanchez, and the victim Ozzy the Ocelot, the defendant pleaded guilty. Judicial Affairs Coordinator David Mariscal defended Robles, saying Ozzy bears some of the responsibility for the accident because steadily pounced in the way of his client, giving no time for his client to take corrective measures.
That the defendant did in fact, the night leading up to the morning of the accident, after a long night of partying, excessive consumption of alcohol, engaged in reckless behaviors, subjecting herself and others to risks.
Admitting that she had been abusing alcohol since junior high, the defendant asked the court for mercy in helping her through her mental and physical addiction. The judge accepted the guilty plea and scheduled sentencing in 14 days. The mock trial was part of the university's observance of National Collegian Alcohol Awareness Week and meant to bring light the legal consequences of drinking and driving and students' responsibility to practice safe alcohol consumption.
This is a mock trial, but this happens in real life. There are people whose lives are put in danger. Like Judge Phil said, many people go through this like every day, and it brings tragedy to many families.
Throughout the country, we have at least 1,000 universities that do Alcohol Awareness Week every fall. As part of a coalition of different types of agencies whose goal is to increase that awareness. So, if we save one life, then we've done our job.
For the Collegian News, this is Alex Rodriguez.
The Student Government Association has amended resolutions on the State of the Student Body Address and the Winter Bash. Victoria Brito fills us in.
With collaboration from other clubs, the SGA has big plans for this year's Winter Bash.
After discussion with UT Brownsville President Juliet B. Garcia and Provost Alan Artebies, the Senate proposed to make the State of the Student Body Address a town hall-style meeting where students will be able to voice their concerns to the SGA and UTB administrators at the meeting, scheduled from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. November 5th. The Senate approved the Resolution 2 amendment and authorized the purchase of $300 worth of pizza to serve at the event.
It's pretty much an event where our university president and our provost and the Student Government Association would host this event and have the student body come, and we would have the president and the provost talk to them about all the changes that the university is going through, but we will also have a question and answer section for students to participate.
Resolution 6 was amended to include the Mu Alpha Nu fraternity as a co-sponsor of the 3rd annual Winter Bash. Attendees are asked to donate blankets and toys as an admission fee. The blankets and toys will be distributed to the needy. The bash will be held from 6 p.m. to midnight, November 22nd, in the Student Union's Grand Salon and is open to the public.
I'm personally extremely excited for this event. I know Winter Bash has only been getting bigger and bigger. 300 toys stacked up. Sounds amazing to me.
In other business, Resolution 11 authorizes the Senate to host the Dean's Luncheon, where senators will meet with the deans of the college they represent and discuss what each college is doing for its students. The event is scheduled from 11 a.m. to noon, November 13th. The luncheon will be sponsored by the Office of the Provost. Resolution 12 recommends the formation of a Recreation, Education, and Kinesiology Center Student Advisory Council with an equal number of representatives from UTB and Texas Southmost College. The resolution will be submitted to UTB and TSC administrators. The SGA approved the appointment of Ramiro Martinez, a senior government major, as a senator for the College of Liberal Arts.
For the Collegian News, I'm Victoria Brito.
About 250 students with disabilities attend UT Brownsville, officials say. Last Tuesday, 4 of those students shared how they manage living with visual and hearing impairments, sleep apnea, and post-traumatic stress disorder.
Can you imagine yourself being a teacher, standing in front of the class, and the first row, and the first thing you see is me. I'm a blind student. I have my cake, I have my deficit knowledge on the table, and you have no idea what to do. They think that because someone is blind, they cannot read. They think that because someone is blind, they cannot collaborate in the classroom, and that's not always the fact. I'm a senior here at the university, and because of the Center of Disabilities, I'm able to be a part of the classroom.
I'm very thankful to the program that's here. I think that without it, school would be much more difficult for me. Testing in some class situations were difficult. It was hard. I suffer from migraines, and I have recently had surgery that seems to have had some improvement. However, I also have sleep apnea and narcolepsy.
The In Our Shoes presentation was part of the university's observance of Accessibility Awareness Week and was sponsored by the Office of Disability Services.
Last Wednesday, students took a break from their busy schedules to take part in the Jack in the Box sponsored event, Munchie Mayhem, on the Student Union lawn. The event allowed students to compete to win a chance to spin a prize wheel for sunglasses and various Jack in the Box coupons. Students participated in the cornhole toss, an inflatable obstacle course, and bungee cord tug of war. Jack in the Box will return to campus at noon Wednesday to sponsor the Hungry Games, and on November 6th for the Late Night Munchie Movie Marathon. Both events will take place on the Student Union lawn.
Dia de los Muertos is a theme of an exhibit by the members of the Graphic Design Club at UT Brownsville. Monica Cudinho checked it out.
Dia de los Muertos was the first exhibition by members of the Graphic Design Club, which opened October 18 at the University Library Cafe. 7 members of the club presented their work in the exhibition that combined the traditional Mexican custom of honoring the dead and the technology of graphic design.
I want to mix traditional heritage with our graphic design.
A piece by communication sophomore Mario Gonzalez features an image of John Lennon with half of his face shown as a skull on a faded maroon background with the phrase Dia de los Muertos on it.
And I wanted to give like a modern but classic look to my art, so this is what came out of it.
All of the works are for sale at the cafe, and the exhibit continues until November the 2nd, the traditional Day of the Dead. For the Collegian News, I'm Monica Gudinho.
Here's Brenda Lopez in this week's I Think.
In this week's I Think, we asked students what is the scariest thing that has happened to them. Here's what they have to say.
I guess what one night what happened was my mom usually gets home and I'll be sitting in the living room watching TV and I'll hear the sound of her high heels sort of like clacking on the cement in the driveway, and it was sort of like around 7, but it was already dark outside. So what happened was that I was watching TV and I heard her shoes, but I looked outside and I didn't see her, so I thought she was already opening the door. So I waited and waited for like 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes passed and like the door never opened. But what happened was that like my door slowly just like started closing behind me, and the thing is I was the only one at home, so that kind of freaked me out.
I woke up in the middle of the night about 3 a.m. to a little bang on my door. So I looked over and it was open just a crack, and I saw a figure peep in. So I went over, I mustered up some courage, I went over, opened the door, and nothing was there. When I turned around to close the door and went back to my bed, I felt this eerie chill down my spine. It was very scary.
There was this one time I got home and I used to have a bunch of cats, and you know how they say that they can sense when like some spiritual or just something, when something's there. And all of a sudden I was opening the door and they just stopped and to turn around and look behind me. They didn't look at me, they looked behind me. And then like when they get scared, like they get like all their hair stand up, and they were just staring and they were hissing, but there was nothing there, so I got really scared. And then I went inside and they were still looking at something that really wasn't there. I didn't see anything.
¿Qué ha sido la cosa más espantosa que te ha pasado en tu vida?
Cuando era chiquita, antes tenía una amiga y probablemente ella siempre se acababa el día y se fue a su casa. Pero cuando crecí, ella nunca ya regresó y empecé a que se había cambiado. Y cuando cumplí los 15 años, en la casa de mi abuela tomamos una foto y en el celular de mi prima enseguida salió la misma niña que jugaba antes de muchos años. No cambió ni cómo se vestía, nada, igualita. Y como cuando la vi me tardó un rato de recordar quién era, pero me comencé a recordar y era la misma niña y es como que me da miedo seguir ahora para la casa.
That sure was creepy. This reporter is going to have trouble sleeping tonight. For the Collegian News, I'm Brenda Lopez.
The number 1 ranked UT Brownsville volleyball team will face off against Our Lady of the Lake at 7 p.m. Tuesday in its final home game of the season. Here's sports editor Sergio Mata with this week's sports roundup.
The UTB Ocelots will play the Our Lady of the Lake Saints on Tuesday in the final home match of the season. The Ocelots took down the number 3 Biola University Eagles October 18th in 4 sets, and the former number 1 Concordia Eagles in 3 sets on the 19th to capture the number 1 spot in the NAIA.
I thought we played great. You know, our offense was definitely on track tonight, and it was the first night in a while that we had every hitter kind of going tonight, and I think that was the difference between us and them, that we just maybe had one more arm on the court than they were able to handle.
The win extended the Ocelots' winning streak to 21 and snapped Concordia's 55-game winning streak, third longest in NAIA history. UTB has hired a new golf coach to replace Anthony Lopez, who resigned last summer. Daniel Hayden, formerly of the University of the Southwest, will coach the men's and women's teams.
He met all the qualifications that we were looking for.
The first tournament under Hayden was at the Alamo City Classic, hosted by Trinity University. The women finished 5th out of 8 teams, while the men finished last. The men will compete today in the Northwood University Fall Shootout in Cedar Hill on the Tango Ridge Golf Course.
For the Collegian News, I'm Sergio Mata.
The Exotic Golfo exhibit opened last Tuesday at Rustenburg Hall. Monica Gudino was there.
10 artists from Mexico displayed their work for the exhibit Exotic Golfo. 3 people sit nearly motionless and emotionless in front of 3 televisions showing images of the artist and others in mugshots, a mushroom cloud, a video game, a noose, and a skeleton key, while a sculpture of the Last Supper hangs on the wall above the sets, and all was part of Sergio Garcia's live piece.
We, as individuals, are always trying to blame others, the politicians, the government, the drug dealers, whoever except ourselves.
Exotic refers to the stereotype of how people from the United States see people or art from the other side of the border, while Golfo refers to someone who goes against the rules of society, said exhibit curator Mauricio Sanz, a 2003 graduate of UTB TSC.
I want the viewers to just try to look at something fresh, something more contemporary.
The other artists in the exhibit are Rogelio Meléndez Ayer, Javier Dragostinovis, Tochiro Gallegos, Samantha Garcia, Mildred Lopez, Juan González Jufrago, Mario Jiménez Díaz, James Salgado, and Humberto Ramírez. Exotic Golfo will be on display until November 15. Admission is $1. For the Collegian News, I'm Monica Gudino.
Thank you for joining us this week. I'm Jonathan Baldwin.
And I'm Victoria Brito. Have a great week.